Growing up, I always felt like an outsider in my own home. I'm Zara, the youngest of 3 sisters. While Layla and Miriam were blessed with angelic beauty, I inherited my grandfather's crooked nose, darker skin, and stubborn curly hair. Our mother used to say, "Zara's not ugly, just plain," but I knew what she meant. In our house, pretty meant worthy, and I wasn't. Layla and Miriam had birthday parties with themes, balloons, and guests. I got a slice of leftover cake with a half-burnt candle. They wore designer clothes to school while I wore their hand-me-downs, often too big or stained. Even my room was a converted laundry closet, while they had full-sized bedrooms with floral wallpaper and fairy lights. It wasn't just the little things. It was love, affection, attention. They got it all. When I aced a math test, I got a polite nod. When Layla won a 3rd-place ribbon in a beauty contest, the whole family went out to dinner. I remember once falling off my bike and scraping my knees badly. I cried out for Mom, but she was too busy doing Miriam's hair for a party. At school, things weren't much better. The girls either ignored me or pitied me. Teachers praised my intelligence, but even they couldn't miss how my own family barely acknowledged me during parent-teacher meetings. I started writing stories to cope, little fairy tales where the forgotten girl rises and the world finally notices her. By the time I was 16, I had learned to disappear. I kept to myself, wore baggy clothes, and lived in books and journals. I didn't hate my sisters. I envied them, sure, but I didn't wish them harm. I just wished, maybe once, someone would look at me the way people looked at them. But everything changed the day our wealthy cousin, Ayan, came to visit from abroad. Handsome, successful, and heir to a multi-million-dollar company. My mother practically threw Layla and Miriam at him, dressing them up like dolls, feeding them lines like they were auditioning for a role. But Ayan noticed someone else. He noticed me. I wasn't even supposed to be in the room when Ayan arrived. My mom had told me to stay upstairs, claiming I wouldn't understand sophisticated company. But I had forgotten my book on the living room couch, and when I quietly slipped in to grab it, Ayan saw me. He smiled, not a polite smile, a curious one. "You must be Zara," he said, rising to greet me. "I've heard about you." My heart thudded. "He's heard about me?" I nodded, barely managing a hi, before escaping upstairs with burning cheeks. I heard Mom's voice behind me, rushed and nervous, trying to distract him with Layla's laugh or Miriam's spontaneous piano playing. But it kept happening. Every day of Ayan's visit, he found a way to talk to me. At first it was small things, asking what I was reading, or commenting on the quietness of our town. Then it got deeper. He asked about my writing, my dreams. He listened. No one had ever done that before. One evening, he found me sitting in the garden with my journal. He sat beside me without asking. "You're not like the others," he said. "You see things differently." I didn't know what to say. My voice always shrank around attention. Years of being overlooked had taught me to stay quiet. But with Ayan, I started to speak. And for the first time in my life, someone truly heard me. When he left, he gave Layla and Miriam polite hugs. But before he got in the car, he handed me a small envelope. Inside was a note. "I see you, Zara. I'll be back soon. For you." My hands trembled. I hid the note like it was gold. But nothing stayed hidden for long in our house. Layla found it the next day. All hell broke loose. Miriam accused me of seducing him like a pathetic attention seeker. My mother slapped me across the face, the first time she'd touched me in months, and said, "You think you can compete with them? You? Don't embarrass us." I should have cried. I should have broken down. But something shifted inside me that night. For the first time in my life, I didn't want their approval anymore. I wanted revenge. After they found Ayan's note, everything changed, but not in the way they expected. They thought humiliation would make me crawl. That shaming me in front of the entire extended family during dinner would scare me back into my place. My mother said, loudly and proudly, "Zara won't be entertaining delusions anymore. She knows her role now." Laughter followed. Even my father smirked. But I didn't cry. Not once. Instead, I planned. Ayan and I started talking in secret. I created a private email. He apologized for everything, furious that my family had treated me that way. "You deserve so much better," he wrote. "And when I come back, I want to meet you properly, away from all this." He wasn't just sweet. He was serious, and rich, and most importantly, he respected me. I spent the next 6 months becoming the woman they swore I could never be. I started working part-time at the local library, using the money to buy clothes that actually fit. I took online classes in business, design, and speech. I started uploading my writing under a pen name, and one of my short stories went viral in a small lit community. I was blooming. But quietly. No one in the house noticed. They were too busy preparing for Layla's engagement. My parents were trying to push her into a match with the son of a local politician. The boy wasn't interested, but my mother insisted. Beauty is power, Layla. Use it while you have it. That line stuck with me. I began documenting everything. Every insult, every cruel word, every ignored achievement. I gathered photos, recordings, even entries from my childhood diaries. I knew one day I'd use it all. Not just for me, for every girl made to feel lesser in her own home. Then came the day I'd been waiting for. Ayan returned. Only this time, he didn't call first. He just arrived, unannounced. The house buzzed with excitement. "He's here for Layla," my mom whispered, straightening her sari. Layla rushed to fix her lipstick. Miriam pulled out her best dress. But Ayan walked straight through the door, past all of them, and stood in front of me. He smiled. "Zara, you ready?" Everyone stared in stunned silence as I stood up, calm, confident, radiant, and took his hand. I looked back at them once, and said, "You ignored me my whole life. Watch closely now." You could have heard a pin drop when I walked out that door with Ayan. My mother's mouth hung open. Layla looked like she'd been slapped. Miriam stood frozen, still holding the hair straightener. I didn't turn back again. We got in his car, and he drove us straight to his penthouse apartment in the city. On the way, I laughed for the first time in years, not because anything was funny, but because I had finally broken free. Ayan proposed that same week. No cameras, no big announcement, just a rooftop dinner, the city lights behind us, and his voice steady. "Let's build something real. You and me." I said yes, but I wasn't done with my past yet. Instead of a grand wedding, we planned a private civil ceremony. Quiet, legal, but the real show was yet to come. You see, Ayan had something I never had: influence. He offered me a role in his media company, and I accepted, but not just as a token wife. I became a creative lead, with full control over a digital campaign we were planning to launch. Ayan didn't just support me, he believed in my mind. And that's when I created The Forgotten Daughter, a video series based on a fictional story of a girl raised in a home where love was given based on looks, where neglect, favoritism, and emotional abuse were masked as parenting, where sisters were pitted against one another, and no one ever said sorry. Each episode revealed real events from my life: voice recordings of my mother belittling me, screenshots of texts, diary excerpts I narrated myself. My voice, raw, steady, and unashamed, narrated every line. The series launched anonymously under Ayan's media wing. It exploded. People around the country resonated with the story. Comments poured in from girls and women who'd lived the same pain. Hashtags trended. Journalists started digging. Psychologists praised it. Families were forced to look in the mirror. And then, the cherry on top, the final episode dropped. It included footage from our engagement ceremony. Ayan and I, happy, confident, and a voiceover. They told me I was invisible, that I didn't matter, that beauty meant love, and I had none. But they were wrong. And now, the whole world sees me. The camera zoomed in on my face, smiling, not with revenge, but with peace. But my family? They were in chaos. I never said their names, not once, but they outed themselves. Within hours of the final episode, distant relatives, old classmates, even neighbors started connecting the dots. My inbox flooded with messages, some apologizing for not standing up, others just stunned that quiet little Zara had become the face of a national conversation. Layla called first. She didn't apologize. She was angry. "How dare you humiliate us like that? You've ruined our family's name. No one wants to marry me now." I listened, quietly. Then I said, "You ruined yourselves. I just told the truth." Miriam tried to be diplomatic. "Look, maybe you took things too personally growing up. Mom and Dad did their best." Did their best? They left bruises I couldn't show, wounds I had to stitch with silence. They didn't do their best. They chose who mattered. Then came my parents. My father called me a liar. My mother cried, not from guilt, but from shame. "People at the mosque are talking," she sobbed. "Your video made me look like a monster." "You made yourself look like a monster," I replied. I just pressed play. They begged me to take it down, but I didn't, because it wasn't just my story anymore. It belonged to thousands of women who messaged me daily, saying, this was my home too. My pain had become their voice. Ayan and I married quietly, just like we'd planned. No photographers, no makeup artists, just two people who saw each other when the world didn't. I walked down the aisle in a simple white dress, no flashy jewels, but I wore the confidence they'd spent years trying to break. My vows weren't just to him, they were to me. I vow to never shrink again. I vow to never seek love where there is only condition. I vow to write my own story, and never let anyone erase me again. That was the real revenge. Not destroying them, but rebuilding myself so completely that their cruelty no longer mattered. The forgotten daughter, she became unforgettable. And that silence they once forced me to live in, now, it echoes with my voice.